Okay. Here is why the pastors need to, and this is to keep you interested, this picture caused a murder. My neighbor was murdered because this converts people to Republican instantly. And if pastors do not get on this case, you're about to hear a recording of Sean Hannity telling about how Houston pastors are having to send in they've been subpoenaed by the lesbian governor to give up all their sermon tapes to be analyzed by the government. This changes people into Republican voters, and if the pastors watching this need to realize they're going to have to do this to get these 3 black teenagers investigated, so that this piece of paper and that the 20 Democrat atrocities will be understood by every citizen. And that is, gay sex ed in schools is what Democrats are doing. This piece of paper is not allowed to be looked at by black voters. That's in the book that's coming out. 20 Democrat atrocities that black voters are not allowed to read. Democrats don't want you to read this. And that's going to make all the voters read it, because they're going to be curious. Okay, gay sex ed in schools. Democrats support tax-financed sex change operations, protecting pedophile websites. That's the NAMBLA website. Legalize child cyber pornography. If the child's not a real child, it's legal now to make a 5-year-old child and a 50-year-old real person into a disgusting movie. And they say there's no victim. Okay, Democrats want to set free child molesters with no ankle bracelet and no registration with the cops. That's number 1 through 5. There's 6 through 20 more of these that I will show at the end of this video. What you've got to realize is the reason we're also, just like somebody filed charges against Texas Governor Rick Perry for unauthorized use of power and unauthorized use of authority. We're going to label Mitch McConnell. These are all in battleground states right now with 3 weeks till the election, to get the attention of the Republican National Committee, which is not trying to win. They only want a 2.2% win by Republicans, or else they lose their jobs. They don't want this piece of paper to get out because it causes Republicans to win by 40%. We're going after Mitch McConnell, Cory Gardner in Colorado. Joni Ernest is a racist. In Kansas, Pat Roberts, racist. Sabotage all Republican Senate races until they promise to look into the Monroe 3 and promise to sue the Republican National Committee and the National Rifle Association and the media and the radio hosts. We're going after racist Republican Governor Mike Rounds, and independent Larry Pressler, West Virginia Republican Shelley Moore, Capito, Louisiana Republican Bill Cassidy, and Rob Maness. Label them a racist until they start to come out against the NRA and the RNC. That's their buddies. The consulting industry, you've got to understand this. The pastors that I'm talking to right now, they need a $600 billion a year industry is what this is, because of concerned viewers, candidates paying for ads, and insane laws. They need a close election every time. With this top 20 Democrat atrocities on one side and this on the other side, it's going to be Republican 70%, Democrats 30%, and they lose tons of money because there's few concerned viewers watching the news during the elections. Candidates don't need to buy any more ads, and there's no insane laws to rivet the viewers anymore. So you've got to understand why it is that you, Mr. Politician, political expert, have never had your neighbor murdered to try to silence your speech, because your speech is nothing. It's a drop in the bucket. This thing creates 40% Republican wins, instantly creates Republican voters out of non-interested voters. The Republican consulting firms are paid censors who are finding it harder and harder to stop the one piece of paper that ruins their career and threatens to send them to prison for treason, and which carries the death penalty. It stops cold the gays. It stops them cold, and the drug cartels. This piece of paper right here. And so let's hear what's going on. We want you to put big signs all out in your, and if you can do some of these vans that says DemocratsRapeChildren.com, but the SBI agent named Kevin Kimbrough actually did this murder. And here's a big picture of, let's see if I can find it, this big Ford van. Anybody can make one of these. DemocratsRapeChildren.com. Parking in popular area. This was before the Bush election, with 120,000 fans going 2 miles an hour down Highway 220 to the Martinsville Speedway from 9 a.m. in the morning until 12 noon when the race starts. Okay, here they go right here. This is Sean Hannity.
One other story that I think we've really got to bring up here was written by my friend Todd Starnes over at FoxNews.com. The city of Houston has issued subpoenas demanding that a group of pastors turn over any sermons dealing with homosexuality, gender identity, or Anise Parker, who is the city's first openly lesbian mayor. And those ministers who failed to comply could be held in contempt of court. Quote, the city's subpoena of sermons and pastoral communications is both needless and unprecedented, said the Alliance Defending Freedom attorney in a statement. The city council, their attorneys, are engaging in an inquisition designed to stifle any critique of its actions. Now, the Alliance for Defending Freedom is a nationally known law firm specializing in religious liberty cases. They're representing 5 Houston pastors. And they filed a motion in Harris County to stop the subpoenas, arguing that they are overbroad, unduly burdensome, harassing, and political and social commentary is not a crime. It's protected by the First Amendment. Now, the subpoenas are just the latest twist in this saga over Houston's new non-discrimination ordinance. The law, among other things, would allow men to use the ladies' room and vice versa. This was approved in June. The Houston Chronicle reported opponents of the ordinance launched a petition drive that generated more than 50,000 signatures, far more than the 17,269 needed to put a referendum on the ballot. However, the city threw out the petition in August over alleged irregularities after opponents of the bathroom bill filed a lawsuit with city attorneys, responding by issuing the subpoenas against the pastors. Now, the pastors were not part of the lawsuit. However, they were part of the coalition of 400 Houston area churches that opposed the ordinance, and the churches represent a number of faith groups from Southern Baptist to non-denominational. City council members are supposed to be public servants, not big brother overlords who will tolerate no dissent or challenge, said the ADF attorney working on the case. This is designed to intimidate pastors. So that's going on in Houston. Matter of fact, I'm looking at my phone lines here. We have Pastor Willie in Houston. Are you one of the pastors that have been subpoenaed?
No, Sean. I'm not one of the pastors that have been subpoenaed, but I'm part of the group of the coalition of pastors that started the signature writing and the filing.
Why did they say there were irregularities when you guys got 3 times the number of signatures almost needed to get the referendum up?
Well, they said because what we did was an unprecedented action happened by the city attorney.
So you're going to have to go back over this and rewind a little bit. It's also got these top 20 atrocities. I'm going to put them on there. There is a page that has all of the mathematical factors. Democrats were livid about this stuff. They murdered my neighbor. Commonly used as pawns, black teenagers. They said they were loading the gun during the robbery.